Welcome to the Not Superheroes Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Man, out here, I know it's been a little bit chilly now. We're starting to finally get that winter weather. It's kicking in. But before we dive into it, right, remember to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. The positive feedback, like I tell you guys all the time, man, it means so much to me. And we're growing, and it's a beautiful thing, man. So I'm so thankful for that. Now, something I want to dive in, just jump right into it with you guys. I remember, growing up, I'm sure a lot of you guys remember too, right? It was a negative thing in a sense, right, for kids to ask questions. Right, like, never question me, never, ask me about this, or just do it because I said so, right? And so I wanted to talk about, why discernment matters more than obedience, right? Because I think, and even some of us now, I'm guilty of that as well, where I am more stuck on, this is what I said, so you need to do it. And so I wanted to really dive into that. Most of us were raised to obey. Right? Like I said, don't ask questions. Don't push back. Just listen. But the world our kids are growing up in will challenge everything they believe. It doesn't matter if it's about their identity, what is true about God, if you're a believer like me, their values, whatever we instilled in them, the world is going to challenge that. And a lot of times it might tell them the opposite of whatever you're trying to instill in them. So the question isn't, will my child question me? I guess, but the question is more so, will they know how to think when it comes time for them to make whatever decision it is, right? Will they know how to really make certain decisions? Will those values kick in? And so, obedience keeps kids safe, right? Obedience keeps kids safe, but temporarily. Discernment keeps, I feel, it keeps our kids more safe long term, because again, as parents, we want to protect our kids. We want to make sure that, they're doing everything they're supposed to do. And at a certain stage in their life, yes, we are basically a dictator. They do need to, be obedient to whatever we're telling them to. But at a certain point, it has to shift, right? It has to change. Because obedience says, I said so, or don't ask questions, or you better do this. But discernment asks, why do you believe this? Obedient kids behave, when they're watched. We've seen it before where they weren't taught certain things. So, you might see that one home girl or that homeboy, or a lot of times it was the girls that their parents were super duper strict. And then when they went out into the world, right, it happens a lot in college. They go out to college and they just wild out because it was more so, hey, this is how I have to behave all the time when I'm being watched. But discernment, kids are making good decisions even when they're alone. It's not one of those things like, okay, my parent doesn't trust me, my dad doesn't trust me. And so I think that's a huge thing. If the only reason your child does right is because you're present, then we haven't really trained them. We haven't trained them where they can manage themselves. We haven't trained them where they're able to handle certain situations, because yes, again, from a certain age, my youngest right now, he is 7. So yes, I do still explain certain things to him, but a lot of times, hey, you need to do this, and that's what it has to be. But for my oldest, who is 20, and my son, who is 11 now, and even my daughter, like, she's about to be 9, she's getting in that stage now too, where I need to make sure I'm showing her certain things, and for her to have critical thinking. I tell them all the time, critical thinking is key. Like, when I make them do assignments, a lot of times it's for critical thinking. It's like, hey, you need to figure this out for yourself. Why is this? Or does this make sense? Are you sure this makes sense? Why did this occur? Just asking the correct questions. Because at the end of the day, our kids, especially now, everything's on YouTube, everything's on the phone. So if we don't give them those answers, or answer whatever they're asking us, they're just going to get it from the internet. They're just going to get it from their friends. They're going to get it from whoever. And that's the last thing we want. So just rewiring our mind doesn't mean, again, when I'm not saying I don't want, a father hearing this like, oh, well, being disrespectful. No, I'm not saying that when they're questioning certain things that they're being disrespectful. Why do I have to take out the trash? You take out the trash. Like, no, I'm not talking about that as a different type of thing, but just trying to rethink how we look at questioning at times too. Because again, growing up, a lot of times it's like, don't ask questions. Just sit there. Matter of fact, you know what? Just do what I asked you to do, and that's it. But understanding that questioning doesn't always mean being a rebel. But questioning could just mean that's a chance for engagement. That's a chance to answer certain questions that maybe you wish was answered when you were younger. Excuse me. I mean, for examples, I don't know. I don't know. Let's say, matter of fact, no. Actually, I remember. So one of the kids I mentored, amazing kid, amazing, family, all that. But he had questions about church. Why do we go to church? And everything was strictly just, because it's in the Bible or because that's what God said. Very surface level answers. I've seen that a lot, especially in the Christianity community where people ask, especially the youth, they're asking certain questions. And instead of answering it, you want to give a general question instead of, hey, you know what, let me do the research. Like for me, I've been on this journey of making sure that I can answer those hard questions for them. Or if I can't, I tell them all the time, let's find someone who does have those answers instead of me making it up or me getting defensive or me saying that's just what we're supposed to do. I'm trying to make sure that my kids understand what was the purpose of it. So we'll use church since, I know the whole Drewski thing and stuff like that went viral and all that, right? But for me, as I've been researching and doing my own study, yes, church is a beautiful thing, but as a father, you actually are supposed to be the first pastor for your family, right? You're ministering to your family first. And so that's the approach I've been taking. Doesn't mean that I don't go to church. Doesn't mean that, it's not a beautiful thing. It is. But it's so key. So a lot of times growing up, right, for example, we had the mindset is like we have to go to church. If not, like, we're going to go to hell or whatever the case is. We're like checking these boxes off. Right, it becomes a list. It becomes, at this point, church becomes a wish list, right? Or not a wish list. I'm sorry, like a grocery list, right? You're just checking on. Okay, went to Sunday. All right, Sunday church, cool. But you're not really feeding your spirit. You're not actually growing. So then, when your kids have certain questions, you're not able to answer it because for so long you've just been doing the bare minimum, right? And that's just for example. Or another example could be why can't I do what my friends do? Explain it. Hey, because this is what's going to happen if you go down this path. This happened with one of my friends, and this is what occurred to them, and I see the same type of thing that this particular friend's doing, and have them understand. Okay, you know what? Yeah, that's not what I want to do. Thanks, Dad, for explaining that to me. Instead of just, no, you can't hang out with them. As we know, we just tell them not to. They're going to do it anyway. That's just the reality. I could tell my oldest, like, hey, don't do this and this and this. She's going to do it anyway. I joke with her because, she got her style and stuff like that, right? But she'll ask me, hey, should I wear these shoes or these shoes? I know she's just asking just to ask because at the end of the day, she's going to do what she wants to do anyway, right? So she's going to pick whatever shoes. But a lot of times it's like that with the, they're asking, and if we don't give them a real answer, like a good reason, right, they're going to do what they want to do. Like, unless, like my daughter, I use the shoes. Unless I tell her, hey, it's actually super cold outside. You probably shouldn't wear sandals today. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good reason. But if I just say, just pick that one, right? She might be like, no, I wanted to wear these shoes. I just wanted to see what you thought. And leave it at that, right? But yeah, with girls, it's just different, man. Girls are different for sure. But yeah, but I encourage whoever's listening or watching, because as parents, a lot of times what we do is we shut down. Right? Or we shut it down, I should say. We shut it down, we get defensive, or we try to pull rank. Hey, I'm your father. You heard what I said. Hey, I'm your mother. You heard right? Like, we try to use that card. Hey, I brought you into this world. Or, shoot, we might even start trying to act like we're keeping tally points, right? Where it's like, hey, you know what? I did this, so you better be okay with doing whatever I said. And that's not necessarily the way to go about it. Is there times, like, if you have certain rules, yes, hey, I don't want you out in the streets doing X, Y, and Z, right? Okay. And once you get your own house or get your own place, hey, you could do that too. Or, hey, I don't want you driving my car. Yes, of course. Like, those things are understandable because you're paying for it. You don't want nothing to happen to it. But I'm saying more so trying to guilt your child, because that happens too, right? Or we're trying to guilt our kids to do whatever we think they should do. And at the end of the day, I don't think that's the way we should approach it. So so that's something I want to say as well. And then, excuse me. And then, just I feel something we can do as fathers when they ask those tough questions is, one, stay calm, right? Don't get defensive. Trying to understand, okay, they're really trying to learn. They're trying to figure out certain things. This is why. And maybe even ask them, hey, why are you asking me this? Why are you asking me why, we don't go over so-and-so's house anymore? Because, man, Dad, I really liked hanging out with them out there. Okay, well, this is the reason. And if they're too young for you to give them the exact reason, okay, but you can at least share with them, hey, you know what? This person's not a good person, and so it's just better we keep our distance right now. Oh, okay, thanks, Dad. Or, again, like I mentioned, the family, the family that over religious, I guess, right? When their kids had questions, they want to shut it down, they want to get defensive, or they just want to go to the cliche response, right? Pray on it, God got you, and leave it at that. And it's like, wait, no, I'm depressed. Hey, no, I'm dealing with this right now. Like, can you give me some what you went through, or can you give me some encouragement, or can you, right? And if you don't know, or there's a certain question that they ask that you don't know, admit you don't know. I do that all the time with my kids. They'll ask me, whatever. It could be something, I don't know, why are the trees green, right? I think we actually saw like a episode on, I think it was like Magic School Bus or something that broke that down. But point is, right, if I don't know, right, it's like, oh, man, I don't know why that is. Let's figure it out. Let's Google it, right? Let's go on the internet. Let's see the reason. Or if there's certain things, like my son asked before, hey, why isn't there dinosaurs in the Bible? So I don't know. I mean, it does mention animals. I don't know. Maybe that's his way of saying animals, or maybe the Bible didn't feel like it was important enough. I have no clue. That's a great question, though. And by me doing that, it lets my son and my kids, but I remember my son asked about the dinosaurs, but it lets them know, like, okay, Dad's not trying to be perfect. Dad is admitting that he doesn't always have all the answers, and that's okay. Because that's what happens, too, is we put ourselves in this box where we're trying to portray like we know everything when we really don't know anything, right? And then when those questions come, that's when we get upset about it. But if my child can't question me safely at home, the world will gladly answer them outside, right? Like, when our kids are at home, they're in a safe environment, right? Or they should be, hopefully, right? But they're in a safe environment, so that's the time to have those tough conversations. And you can be able to share certain things that no one else is going to share. They're finding out about, I don't know, meth or something like that, right? Like, so I'm like, oh, man, it's great. No, it does this, it does that. Oh, so, like, hold on. Your friend told you that? No, let me break down what can happen. Let me give you images of people that's been addicted to meth. Right, like, we're breaking down all these different things now. They're like, oh, shoot, I wasn't going to get that with my friend. Like, thank you, Dad, for showing me that. But yeah, man, and then, I say, too, is just having some good, I guess good, what should I look at it as? I guess respond in a way that's going to be encouraging. Like, I don't know, like I said, like, that's a good question, or something like, let's look this up together, just those things will make you not seem like a robot, or make it seem like, man, my dad is trying to make it seem like he's on this high pedestal, because we're flawed. Our kids, though, they look at us as we're Superman. They look at us like we know everything. But at least by us admitting, hey, we're not sure, they're like, okay, like, my dad is human. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? We should be able to be transparent like that. At the end of the day, too, we want to make sure when our kids are asking questions, we have to make sure that we're celebrating that in a sense, because that means you're not raising a follower. You're raising future leaders, future husbands, future wives, future parents. And you want to make sure that you give them the right tools and prepare them for life. Prepare them to be able to handle certain situations. They're not going to be able to handle everything, of course. Certain things they're going to have to literally go through it. But they're like, dang, I remember my dad, he told me about this situation. Or, dang, I remember my dad mentioned this, like, I should have listened. But now let me stop this before it goes any further, because my dad warned me about this. Excuse me, keep burping. But, I just look at, like, the best, just matter of fact, just like I tell, right, just like I tell my players that I coach, right, the best players aren't robots, right? They're going to be able to read the game. They're going to be able to see, okay, this is the pass I should make, or this is the cut I should make, right? They're understanding certain principles when they're in the game, right? No matter, even though I'm coaching them, right, I'm coaching them, but at the end of the day, they're dealing with it in real lifetime, like in real time. Because in practice, I can control everything, right? In practice, I can literally control, hey, no, make this cut. Hey, slide over here, pass it over there, go to this corner. I can say all that, but in a real game, I can't do that. And it's just like in life, right? In life, yes, we could tell our kids, hey, this is what you should do. Do it like this. Do it like this. Don't ask questions. Just do this. Just do this. Just do that. But if you don't actually give them the reason when they're in the game, quote unquote, or real life situation, they don't know because they're just used to you as dad or coach, right, telling them every single thing to do and not letting them figure it out themselves. You're basically helping them become robots instead of individuals because they don't know how to handle certain situations. But our kids, they should be challenged, and they will be challenged. Those challenges will be met by teachers. They'll be met by coaches like myself. I'm constantly challenging the kids I coach. Social media for sure is going to challenge them because you watch social media, it's going to go completely against whatever you say. I can go on social media right now. It's going to tell me, I can go on social media. It will tell me have an all meat diet, and that is the best thing ever. I can also go on social media and say go on an all veggie diet, and it's the best thing ever. And if you don't know, and if you could be easily influenced, you're like, man, okay, I'm going to do this now. Oh, I'm going to do this. And you don't really know where to go. Like, you're just going based off of whatever people are telling you. And the reason why you're going off of what people told you is because you see your parents telling you what you should do. You never got to think for yourself. So then we put our kids in a situation where they start dating as they get older, and there was someone that's dang near dictating every single move that they're doing. And we're wondering why is my daughter letting this dude literally do every single thing, right? And I'm not even saying in a positive way. He's doing everything where you're like, she's going out of character. Why is she doing these things? Or your son, man, he's letting this girl he's with dictate every situation. Why is that, right? Because he's just used to, this is what I'm supposed to do. She said I'm supposed to do it, so I'm going to do it. Friends is another one that's going to challenge. Like I mentioned earlier, friends are going to, there's going to be some good friends, as we know there's going to be some bad friends, because we've all dealt with them as well. Culture for sure, especially, I'm a big hip-hop fan. I don't listen to the newest hip-hop as much, but if I listen to certain hip-hop and I'm younger, it can be influenced. Matter of fact, I remember in high school, there was a lot of people trying to be like Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was popping at the time, and I saw so many kids influenced. So many kids all of a sudden were Bloods, or they used to be Crips and now they're Bloods, or they're trying to grow dreads, or they're drinking lean, and they're doing all these things because they think that's what they're supposed to do. They think that, okay, this is right, and maybe their parents that have that conversation with them, I have no clue. But it's just one of those things that our kids are going to constantly be challenged, and we got to make sure that we're aware of those things. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to make sure that, I help my kids understand what to look for, what to, have that conviction. What does that look like? I want them to be able to explain why they believe in something. I want my kids to be able to disagree without being disrespectful. That's a huge one. A lot of times now, people don't know how to disagree without being disrespectful. It could be anything. It could be sports. I've for sure seen it in sports. We see people I've seen it in live, literally at kids' games, but I've also seen it online. I'm sure you guys have too. Doesn't matter what it is. Or any topic, especially with politics. People get super disrespectful and they can't just disagree. Doesn't matter what it is. Just people feel strongly in whatever they believe and they struggle with that. But I want to make sure that they can stand on their own without folding. I want to make sure that my kids can handle themselves no matter what it is. The goal isn't to raise kids who agree with us forever, right? It's to raise kids who can stand on truth even when we're not there, honestly. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's for sure not an easy thing to do. For us, I say more so for us, because we're not sure. It's one of those things, at least for me, I'll speak for me. I'm instilling all these things in my kids, but I'm not with them 24/7. So it's one of those things, I'm hoping that they're able to stand on their truth, be able to stand on those values, on those principles I showed them when I'm not with them. But you never know. So I just got to continue to pour into them and trust that it's working, that they're able to handle themselves in those situations. But, why being questioned, can feel like disrespect, I guess I should say, for us, is because we wasn't allowed to, right? We wasn't allowed to question anything. At least that's how I feel about it. Like, we wasn't able to really open up a lot of times. It was, you depressed, you sad, go wash some dishes. You sad, you go take out the trash, right? You sad, oh, okay, I don't know, whatever. Do whatever it is, right? They somehow turned it into a chore growing up instead of just, hey, okay, this is what you're dealing with. All right, well, let's talk about why you feel this way. Oh, man, I dealt with this too. Let me share this with you. A lot of times I would hate to, growing up, hearing like, hey, I'm going to explain this to you when you get older. And then that never happened. That never took place. So just making sure that we're following through with everything we're saying. I just say, for us to trust the foundation we're laying down to, man. Right? We got to be able to trust it and be able to answer those hard questions. It's not easy. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you're going to make a child that's disrespectful. You just explain to them so they can understand and make sure that you give them the necessary tools to handle whatever it is that they're trying to figure out or they have a question about. Sometimes our kids questioning us doesn't even expose, it does expose, matter of fact, it doesn't expose anything, but I feel like our own insecurity, right? Because like I mentioned the church stuff, right? Like a lot of times is we get upset, hey, I don't know, was Jesus really born on Christmas? Well, why would you ask that? Right? And you're getting upset, and it's like, well, you're mad because you don't know. You didn't do the research. You just went off of whatever you heard from someone else. So you were just being obedient, but you didn't actually look into it as well. So you're just following whatever someone else said. And a lot of times that happens. That happens in politics. That happens in religion, right? That happens in sports, right? Basically, in a lot of topics, happens online, right? Someone online said this, so that must be true. We see it all the time, especially with AI now. AI can make you think I robbed the bank when I haven't been in the bank all month, right? But it'll make you think that that's the case, man. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to share that with you guys, man. And, I guess as I'm closing out is just strong fathers don't need to fear questions. Don't think of it as a negative thing. Don't think of it as, them being rebellious. Just understand that that's part of their growth as well. That's their curiosity, and you have an opportunity to help them grow in that space. To prepare our kids to ask the right ones too, right? Like, not just ask a question, but no matter where they're at, I know I want my kids to be to ask the right questions so they can get the correct answer they need in that moment, so they're not confused, so they're not, thinking they know something or taking something out of context, which as people, we do that all the time, right? But yeah, man, because obedience may raise our children, but discernment raises adults. And for me, that's something that I want to make sure I do. I want to make sure I'm building a character and building the type of citizens, right, in this world that I can be proud of and they can be proud of when I'm long gone. Yeah, man, with that being said, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. I'll see you guys on the next one.